Right, hello everybody. How's it going?
Hi.
Right, so who's a developer in here? Anybody make games? Nobody makes games. Oh, okay, cool. Cool. Either way, it's cool. So basically, this talk is survival. So it's our experiences in making a survival game and releasing it onto Steam. We have Pete, Cameron, John, what's that?
Emily over there.
Hey,
Carney.
I'm a drunk already.
So yeah, he's really that too. So yeah, James usually controls like animations and HUD and a lot of the co-founders. Pete's usually managing QA, producer kind of role. John down here is a kind of an environment artist and a little bit of a designer. I do a little bit of graphics, and Emily looks after the community as well. And my brother Mitchell, who owns the company, who couldn't be here, is like a programmer and our boss. But yeah, so basically the talk is just about like releasing a game into something that's oversaturated. We can all kind of agree that maybe making a survival game on Steam, it's kind of been done before. So this is our trials and preparations and how to make ourselves look different to our competition. So first of all, so there's a team here. This is all the little titles that all of us have accumulated over the years before we decided to come together and then make our own games company. So I came from Rocksteady, so about 11 years, but Pete came from Creative Assembly Station. Emily worked with TT, so that's a little Lego down there. And then Mitchell's pretty much the rest of the titles. Yeah, so we are multidisciplinary because we're small. You'll hear that a lot, smaller team. The more hats you wear within the team and all that kind of stuff. But we like to think we're kind of experienced. Next slide. So what is the Black Death? Guys, anyone played it at all? That's people who work with us. One person. Yeah, so it's a primarily a role-playing game, but it's survival mechanics. So everyone knows what survival is, right? I think I'll explain that. Food, hunger systems, exploration, all that kind of stuff. We actually wanted to kind of blend it with some really good RPG mechanics. So we love Skyrim, wanted it to be multiplayer. So we decided to keep it realistic and do medieval ages, but with some Skyrim mechanics, level up and all that kind of stuff. But with like harsh realities of a survival game, like when you die, you lose your items, that kind of stuff. So I think we do have a trailer. Can you all tab it?
Let's click play.
No, it doesn't work all the time. I think I've already put it on the. It's already. Keep all tabbing it. I think it's the next page. It's the DLC one. Don't know if you've got any audio. Can't hear it. I can narrate this thing, can I? I'll narrate it as well. So yeah, it's a third-person game. It's kind of the place is called Mercia, so it's based on England, medieval England, pretty much. We didn't want to confine ourselves to one location. You got some Polish stuff in there and all that. It's not that accurate to history. We wanted to keep like a lot of flexibility when it comes to design. But basically, you play a role. So you pick a peasant, and you'll survive as a peasant. And it's all about, because it's a multiplayer now, it's all about bouncing off each other. Everyone's roles. A guy's a knight, a guy's a merchant, all that kind of stuff. The world is dark. Like we knew like Dark Souls was so popular because people liked their head kicked in online and experiences like that. So we thought, we should make it extremely hard and see how long you can survive, which fits the genre perfectly. So yes, there's a knight here. It's kind of like a high level. These are two new classes we did like 2 months ago. The outlaw and the knight. The outlaw can literally go and steal from players' inventory, and the knight can go around and find how much bounty you're worth. So there is an economy system in the world, and you can get up. You can be worth a lot of money in terms of being an outlaw, and that knights get paid for killing you, that kind of stuff. But there's no right or wrong. We didn't want to tell the player like they're bad guys, you're good guys. You're Robin Hood was an outlaw, so to speak. So, but yeah, so I'll hopefully give you an idea what the game is. It's multiplayer, it's medieval, it's survival, and it's got lots of RPG role-playing mechanics in there.
Yeah, so we had a tiny budget to make the game, and we wanted to make it quickly. So we developed the game in 8 months. And we've been in early access for about 6 months now, 7 months now. This is our first release title, like Cameron said, altogether, and we were published by Green Man Gaming. Thank you. So yeah, like Cameron was saying, we looked into the genre, we kind of really thought about what we were going to make before we did. We knew that we wanted to make a survival game, we all played survival games, enjoyed them a lot. But we knew we thought the pitfalls were important to know. So survival is obviously quite a saturated genre. If you look at Steam at the moment, you can see there's loads of survival games on there. We'd need to make a large-scale world, which was going to be tough for a small team of 7, as it were. Survival games have a natural kind of PvP griefing, which we wanted to address and kind of like try and solve. Networking is complicated, really complicated, and we knew there were a lot of zombie games out there, so we really wanted to try and stay away from that. If you look at all the trailers and stuff, people think we're a zombie game. They just automatically, if you look at the comments, they automatically straight away go zombie game. We weren't a zombie game. And there's a big stigma about early access and games not finishing, which is pretty justifiable because if you look at a lot of games, on Steam, some of them don't finish.
3 years still early access, that kind of stuff.
So yeah, we came together and we had as a group we had a chat and we wanted to come up with a strong theme and we were like, the Black Death is a perfect theme for a survival game. Why hasn't anybody done it? So we jumped in and we wanted to kind of make our unique space and change it a little bit. So like Cameron was saying earlier on, we added a lot of RPG mechanics and MMORPGs. So we have quality systems, classes, leveling up. So just to kind of stand out from the rest of the guys that were out there. Like I was saying earlier on, avoiding zombies because again, people just, big stigma attached to it. We wanted to think really big, so our original thing was Skyrim but multiplayer, but then you have to think practically. So 7 people can't make Skyrim multiplayer, so we aimed high and then kind of saw what we could get. And of course, the big thing was fitting our budget. So that kind of ties to the big idea, how you can actually approach it. Next page, John. So we looked at a lot of different games. So here we have me and Cameron playing some Gary's mods, Dark RP. Cameron and me were meth dealers. That was a good game. H1Z1, great game. That's where we got a lot of survival game inspiration from, and Dungeon Lords for our mechanics. If anyone's ever played Dungeon Lords, you should because it's fantastic. It's really old. It's kind of old school good. Next one. So why did we want to go early access if there's a big stigma about it? We were thinking. There's a lot of reasons why. These are sort of the more common reasons people pick. So large scale testing, as a team of 7, there's no way we could test the amount of people we needed to test just by ourselves. If we played it all day every day, we still wouldn't hit a lot of the bugs. Direct contact with people. It's great to see Pete's in charge of the community and Emily as well. And there's loads of feedback you get, which is just so valuable and you wouldn't get any other way. It reduces the financial pressure on the project, which is important for a small team. You have a limited budget, so taking the pressure off it just makes so much sense and is cool. One back, John. Oh, okay, next one. But the biggest one for us is having fluid changes in direction. So you have your idea, you make it, but then you realise it isn't perfect. Early access is a perfect place to actually change your direction in big ways, and Cameron's going to chat a little bit about that.
So for instance, feedback of the community. If you essentially view it as a QA department that reaches thousands, that they have to pay to try it out. It's perfect, really. And it's kind of cruel at the same time, but it works out. So especially in the, like you said, large game. And this is the sort of system that came from that. If we weren't in early access, this system wouldn't even exist. So they're paying for an early product, but they get to take part in it changing, which is it's a beautiful thing, really. And this system is we only had one cotton bush in the game. And everyone's talking about crafting and quality systems that you would get in RPG. This is a legendary cotton. This is crap butter. We want to be able to have a range of things like that. Because the economy system, is that just worth the value? It gives more value to you as a role. I'm the guy who makes the best butter in the server. You're a terrible butter churner, and that's kind of adds a little bit of competition. So that's exactly how this came out of. You can go to fluffy cotton bush. The best peasants can get the best cotton out of that. Makes the best cloth. Makes the best armor. So on and so forth. So that's the sort of stuff that came from just letting the game out earlier than intended, and then hearing some feedback. So I'm going to quickly go over the art style. So like I mentioned, I really wanted to make the game look completely different to any other survival game. When you think survival game, you think of USA, you think of farmland, like Daisy, H1Z1, sunny. You always think sunny. So I was like, right, I want British weather. We know exactly what it looks like. It's an easy reference. Look at the window. Oh, okay, that's what it looks like. It's greys and blues. And like I said, people like to be punished, and even visually, like Dark Souls. You could say beautiful, but at the same time, it's pretty horrifying looking. So I went for British environment stuff. A really cool palette in terms of colours, also blues and stuff like that. Try to stay away from the browns, very muddy. Yeah, we went for physical-based rendering, obviously, we're on Unreal 4. So the use of reflections, the wet surfaces looks great. And yeah, lots of destruction in the world. Like this is almost like the plague has hit the world, and this is what happened afterwards. You know, like 30% of the population is gone. What does that look like? So that's kind of the core like art directions. You know, that's like dead animals lying around, flies, you know, poo, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So yeah, literally, this is a before and after of like settling on the art direction. Yeah, literally, like you couldn't know which game that was on the left. That's pretty much any of 5 games I can think of right now. You know, Rust, it could be anything. And on the right, you have a bit more of a, you know, if someone takes a screenshot, they go, oh, is that the Black Death? So that's kind of like, it helps with marketing anyway, and having a unique look at the game. You know, straight away it's medieval. You know, we have lots of NPCs set up to really remind you, this is a medieval game and it's dark. You know, people are hanging everywhere, that kind of stuff. It helps with the art direction as well. Putting blood on the walls, that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, having a purpose for NPCs as well. Before we started pushing like the theme of the world, you just had people standing around. I'm a merchant, like he wasn't really standing next to anything. On the left, he's a blacksmith, he's making weapons. It helps sell the era really well. It's an NPC driven game, you don't have to be talking and trading with these people. So I mean, it helps a lot with that kind of stuff, like helping place game design things like NPC, weapons, merchants, all that kind of stuff. So I always came back to, you know, what would it really feel like back then? And yeah, rainy day. So yeah, because it's a big world, it's 8 kilometers squared. So that's big, it's massive, right? So we tried to use procedural techniques to generate realistic surfaces quickly, using the material stuff in Unreal 4, which is great. So it's literally before and after, like literally takes 5 minutes and you get that result. It's a little bit of quick painting in terms of on the landscape, and you get like a high fidelity surface. Yeah. So Mitchell would do this bit, the code, but he's not here today. I was saying in part of him, like there's loads of code in the game, it's really complicated, and it's hard as fuck and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, and he's always working around the clock on that. So leading up to lunch, you want to talk about this, Pete? Here's your bit. So yeah, we're about to release the game at this point.
Hello, so James asked how many of you are devs, and I don't think anybody put their hands up. So, are you students studying game design? How many are students studying game design or game creation? Or okay, so what do you guys do then? Awesome. Tech support. So tech support students. Cool. So I'm not sure as students like how much this is going to sort of feed into what you do. This is very much about community building and sort of how you're dealing with anything you put live. So maybe it will. So basically, as soon as you put anything out on the internet, you are going to get feedback from people, and you've got feedback. So it's a tricky thing to deal with. I mean, it's part of the reason why I came on board with SIG almost a year ago now, and you get a whole mix of stuff, right? And it is a real task, because you've got people who are going to be feeding you information about stuff that's useful, people who are angry, people who are really happy, and you've got a dev team full of people who are very susceptible to people being horrifically nasty about their work. So it's a bit of a weird situation. So what we did that worked as we were coming into EA. So concentrated on optimization. It's a common EA complaint, early access complaint. Games go into early access, they're not optimized. It tends to be something that comes in at the end of a dev cycle, because you're figuring out, right, we have too many of XYZ whatevers, we need to cut that down, minimize how much memory they take up. And for us, it's an ongoing battle. There's certain things that we need to optimize, certain things we have optimized, but basically the goal is to kind of keep the game playable throughout. So that is one thing that we sort of have kept in mind from all the way through. Scope check, culling and pushback, so we're sort of always looking at where we want to go, what we can do in that time, and how to maintain something that's playable to everyone. Again, it's a balancing task, because the people you're giving the game to expect something that they can play, but at the end of the day, this is a game that's mid being developed. So in a traditional dev cycle, you're a year and a half into development, your game's due out in 6 months or a year. the game is probably not going to be playable, but that doesn't matter, because if it's not playable and you're working in the studio, you go and ask a guy 2 desks down and he comes and fixes it, right? So, or you're the guy that can fix it because you've broken it, so it doesn't matter. But if you're putting it out to thousands of people on Steam, suddenly it really matters, and it really impacts your sales, your reputation as a studio, you know, a whole like bunch of secondary things you need to be aware of and worried about. And then we've got a publisher. So you guys actually got a publisher before I was on board, so I don't know if you want to talk about that? Or?
So yeah, publishers can have a bad rap, but they're really useful. So Greenman Gaming found us, and some of the advantages we had were they put us straight onto Steam. Like, we didn't have to go through the green light process. They've taken us to some shows. What have been 2 EGXs, Gamescom, Res, yeah. And they take a lot of the marketing side away from you. Like, we still do a bit of our own, but they did a big marketing strategy. They know all their mates. They know all the sort of people they get in contact with. And like Dave from Greenman Gaming really helped us out actually making assets as well. So trailers, some of his voice is the trailer voice. So if you do watch the trailer with sound, you'll see. But yeah, so they really helped us out, and it got us to where we are today. So yeah, we thought we were ready. We launched. And it all went downhill. So basically, people really liked the game, the way it looked, and the way it was playing. But the problem is, it kept crashing, and we had a lot of problems based on clients. Like, so people playing would crash the whole server, and that was our big problem. We had a lot more people than expected, which is how we ended up having this problem and finding stuff. As you can see, we were, what was that, 6?
6 on Twitch.
6 on Twitch, and like
Call of Duty's down there somewhere.
yeah, we didn't even have an icon, so that's how good we were. So basically, if we skip to the next slide. So these are some of the examples. So if you have problems with games crashing, you can come chat to us and get some like one-on-one problem solving. But basically, we had some random things like audio. So we had ambience actors in the world, and having those was just flooding everybody's memory. So that was crashing the server by itself.
And it's splines. You guys use splines when you're making art, for instance. You're drawing the walls out with lots of nice shortcuts, fast to create a lot of assets. Oh, a wooden fence. I just draw the spline out, and it populates the wall with a wooden fence. Oh, that's great. Turns out the spline itself has a collision on it, and if you don't turn it off, it spams the server and crashes the whole game. So like tiny little things like that can completely affect like everyone's playthrough.
Yeah, AI as well, crashing, like AI doing things we hadn't seen before cause crashes. Steam authentication is really complicated in a multiplayer game, and we were finding a lot of people couldn't get back on once they were crashed. So there's loads of completely random things that we wouldn't have been able to see. If we'd had loads and loads of people playing, we probably would have found a bunch of these before, but that is the way it is. The biggest thing we learned from this was people aren't really forgiving of you being in early access. We kind of originally we were like, oh, we'll launch, and we knew there were a few problems, especially like some visual problems with like floating rocks and trees. But people just straight away were like, no, that is a floating tree.
Literally, like somebody would say, if the tree's falling off the ground, the game is shit. Yeah. So that's how that's the one thing to it. So we thought it'd be fine, but yeah, obviously not. So
if you're gonna release a game, work on a bit of polish.
Yeah.
Even if it's like early access game, you're nowhere near complete. Try and work on a little bit. So I think a lot of companies would have just exploded from that, but we worked really hard, and we were at 48%, and we've been slowly bringing it back up ever since. Some of the really important things we think that helped get us back to where we were we did a patch in the first 24 hours. So it was like a courtesy patch. We didn't know what any of the problems were. A lot of the big problems were at that time. But we fixed a couple of big ones, and we also fixed some things that people had picked up on and noticed, and they were kind of commenting about in every video. And then we rapidly patched. Pete was right on it, chatting to everybody, talking to them, telling them what we were doing, and we patched over that week. I think we did 4 or 5 patches. Yeah. So it was one. I think it was one on the first day, one after the second day, 5th, 7th day.
It kind of shows a lot of you get faith in people, because they assume that you're going to use the game, take the money and run. Yeah. A lot of people say that, they're going to run. If you show you went mental with patching over a week, they're going to hang around because this game's going somewhere. So there's a little bit of faith in the customer.
Yeah, and the probably the most important thing was that we prioritized stability. So we wanted the servers to stay up because it's the best thing. If people can actually play the game, then they can enjoy it even if it is broken. So we tore out anything. We tore out the AI, we tore out the sound. So there was a lot of stuff missing from the game, but in the end, it worked and people could get on it. It was a very not sleeping week. That was pretty intense. So this is all Pete. Yeah. So Pete's going to talk about community.
So, if you're releasing anything out into the wilds, what we've learned is it's important to sort of cultivate people who are going to be interacting, playing your game, from as an early stage as possible. Of course, you want to sort of stagger stuff. Like if you're working with people who are doing marketing, like we are with Green Man, you need to be aware of what their plans are as to how your content goes out, if they have any milestones that you specifically want to hit or any sort of marketing beats. But as soon as we were on Steam, we were in there talking to people, talking about what questions they had about the game, talking about what we were doing, and we really wanted to show, like Cameron and James were saying, there's a big thing about people who are releasing early access games at the moment and just legging it with their money. We really wanted to show that wasn't our plan, and we're going to carry on working on the game and establish, some trust in what we're doing and our vision for the game. So one of the first things we did when I started was I helped create a location for the community to come. So we built a website that has links to everywhere we are on the internet. Emily's very in deep with that at the moment, so we have links to Twitch, Facebook, Twitter, a bunch of stuff I can't even remember basically. But it's a community hub for where anybody who comes online, looks for the game, they can find us there and find out any information that they need about the game. They can post, interact with us. And that can go up live before you launch your game. And it definitely helps. And you'll get people who are interested. Providing you're doing something that's interesting, which I presume you all are, you're going to get people coming from as soon as the concept's out there, right? So you'll get people interested in what you're doing and interacting with you. Post-launch, so the moderating and quelling forum fires is... so when we launched, like I said, the game was crashing, and people are angry, right? They've just spent 15 quid on a game, they've booted it up, and it's just crashed, and they're like, oh, well, this is shit. So if they're an active member of Steam, they'll go on the forums, they'll start asking around, figuring out what's going on, and if they see a dev, get on there and post them, say, yeah, we know what this crash is, we're working on it, expect a patch within the week, or oh, thank you very much, we don't know what this issue is, can you give us some more information? They tend to totally pivot on their sort of on what they're saying, basically, because they're suddenly getting a response from people who are making the game. So they'll go from, oh, you, whatever, I hate you, and they'll be like, oh yeah, actually, yeah, it crashed after the main menus, can you fix it? Yeah, we're like, yeah, okay, we'll be right on there. Like, oh, thanks, I'll have a go next weekend. You're like, cool, cheers, thanks for playing. And then all of a sudden you've got someone who's really happy, and you've maybe spent 15 minutes on a forum. Again, I don't know how relevant this is if you're still building up stuff as a student, but maybe it'll be useful later, I don't know. So yeah, again, working with players to find and solve problems, like I just said, managing vital player feedback. So this ties into what I was saying earlier, you get a lot of stuff coming back to you. And trying to manage what is important for the team to hear. So they don't need to hear that their game is cancer, but if someone tells them that there is a frame rate dip that's specifically noticeable, just after they switch from the main menus to the game, that might be a lot more relevant to them and something we can actually act on. So that's very important. And we also have a set of community mods who are players who basically picked up the game early, really into it. They were sending us spreadsheets full of bugs they'd found, all written out really nicely. And I just gave them access to our bug database, and they just submit bugs to us directly now. But they are like a core for your community, and they just everything you do as a team, they'll just like supercharge. So it's really important. If you're releasing something into the wild, look for those like super users, I think they call them. But these guys who are going to just help you with whatever you want to do, and really engage with them, like talk to them, see what they can bring to you. Next. Oh, so yeah, so this is the feedback. I'm trying to find there is some good ones on there. Pure cancer, yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, so it's about analysing feedback, right? So it looks like a noise to you and it hurts your feelings because there's these big red thumbs going, this game's crap. But if you really analyse it, that guy at the bottom right there says 10 of 10 picked up flour, a bag of flour, and the game crashes. Okay, the flour in the game's broken, we'll fix it. So that's the sort of stuff like I like getting really in there. And for me, this is fascinating because a lot of people who say the game's crap, it's because they're in the first 10 minutes in the game. Well, that means the first 10 minutes of the game is buggered. So we need to work on that. A lot of good feedback we're getting from people for like 60 hours, 200 hours. So as soon as you get past that initial wall, I'm like, well, that's what we need to work on. We need to work on that first game in the game, and then hopefully people just love after that.
So yeah, I was going to say, as someone who's working in the community, you need to try and pick these pieces apart and show the guys what they need to see. I mean, basically, you're like the shield rather than seeing your game is pure cancer. So they don't need to see that after 48 hours of staying up all night. But you could tell them that there's a crash when people are picking up flour. You can leave the 10 out of 10 bit. They don't need to say that.
Ironic.
But yeah. So our future plans. Is this me or just you? I don't know. Enhancing user experience. It sounds like you.
Yeah, so basically, from all the feedback and stuff we've learned, we like I was saying before, we've been adjusting the game and changing it constantly. One of the biggest things we noticed was just people didn't know stuff existed. So we had all these features and stuff. We had skill trees, inventory, and people just didn't know it was there. They didn't push the buttons because we didn't think about it. We completely missed it. So what we've been doing, and we are continuing to do, is enhance the UI so people know stuff exists, making it all fluid and nice and easy and simple for people to see things. And then this leads on to people being able to actually get to the features, and then obviously that has a good impact on ratings and stuff because people see the depth to the game that you're putting in, see the differences. And then basically we're increasing the difficulty of the game because we went to survival game, but then we tried to move away from survival game towards RPG, like adding the two together, but we kind of lost the heart of difficulty of survival. So in the end, we were like, oh crap, we kind of missed it. So we've been putting in more enemies, the wellness mechanic, which kind of really ties up the Black Death feel and makes the game a lot harder, increased hunger rates, which is popular and unpopular. Some people love it, some people hate it, the Marmite of mechanics. And that is our basic plan at the moment. We're just continuing to kind of make it easier for people to play and making it harder for them to play. And they like, for some reason, people really like the hardness. So what would we tell ourselves?
So this is kind of a slide, like, if we could go back in time before we launched in the early access, and what would we tell ourselves?
Make a deal about birds and things.
And yeah, basically found that having a closed beta before you go public is awesome. That's where you get these community mods, these super users in early and all that kind of stuff. Using the right code for a right job, that's sort of Mitchell's kind of thing. You're never ever going to be ready for a multiplayer game because even Battlefield 1 or Battlefield 4 will have server issues. So using indie, you're going to have server issues. So you're just going to have to go in there. But yeah, hopefully if you have a nice private beta, that helps a ton. Which helps also build the community before you even started. And yeah, try and be fresh eyes on the game because you get so focused when you're making something on a tiny thing like, man, my tree looks really good. That tree is so good, but all the branch, it doesn't really mean anything. Everything around it is anarchy. So
having faith in your team as well. So being confident that you're going to make the right decisions. If you work hard, things will hopefully go in the right direction.
And obviously, we didn't know how much of big feedback this was going to be. YouTube was just rammed full of video created by the community. We were getting 60,000 views, 200,000 views on some videos created by the community. We had no involvement in that. That's some good press. So and people making series of videos I'm playing the peasant today, I'm playing this.
Along with the bad negative comments, you get cool stuff like this.
Yeah.
So people making stuff that made us laugh. Like the first time we released the beggars, people were role playing. Some Twitch streamers were role playing the beggar. We were just testing it. They jumped on the beta server with us, and
And then the release of the beggar class, everyone played as a beggar, so it was really funny to have 90 beggars begging with each other.
So just example of, again, community-based stuff.
There's the flour. We're reproducing the bug of dropping flour on the bottom right there.
100 out of 100.
Yeah.
Flour.
Fixed. fix that one. Yeah, like going to Gamescom, seeing people play it firsthand is always great. Yeah, I got some awesome bugs there. This is Sir Winter and some like other big YouTubers like messing around. That stuff's always fun. Yeah, and like player created maps. That's really cool. They made their own map where all the locations and everything is. Because I forget where stuff is. So the players are like putting exactly where the maps. That's pretty sweet. Cool. Yeah, so we'll do a quick. Anyone got any questions on anything at all? But I think that's pretty much it. Thank you for your time.
I think we're probably going to hang around for a bit, so you can always grab us as well. Like, or if anybody is asking questions now.
We'll just let you drink. Right? Yeah, thanks, guys. Cheers.